Shall we begin?
Hey everyone, welcome back to the More Than Just Keto podcast. This is episode number 19, and I am one of your hosts, Molly.
And I am your other host, Ashley. And today we are talking about creating your own success instead of duplicating it.
Yes.
So create, don't duplicate.
So to create your own success rather than duplicate someone else's, because the reality is you will not be able to have the same success as someone else because you're not them.
I think this is so important. If you were listening right now, this is so important. If you haven't listened to us this entire time, if you've listened to our other episodes and you're like, this is so important because this is the difference between creating your own success and trying to live someone else's and it not working.
Yeah.
Success looks different for everyone. And oftentimes when we see somebody that's having success, we want to just copy it. We just want to go to that person and say, yeah, I'm just going to do that. That's working for that person. That person kind of looks like me. That person's kind of similar to me. Or my friend did this and that worked.
Yeah.
Or this person that I know had this amount of success. And if you're talking about marketing, you're talking about business plans. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense to copy someone else's business plan. That makes sense to copy someone else's marketing plan.
Right.
Chances are it's already tried and true and it's worked. But when we're talking about the body, when we're talking about struggling to find your own success within losing weight, that has to come from you. And you really have to create that plan.
Yeah. I think a lot of people assume they can duplicate someone else because, and we've talked about it before, the diet culture and how they give you the food plan and here's the program and this is what you're going to do exactly. And then you're going to duplicate it and then you're going to have the same success.
Yeah, people are looking for a program. So that's, you're right. That's part of the problem.
A lot of people are used to seeing the packaged program. Here you go. It's all nicely packaged with a bow. You have your eating plan. You have your workout plan. All you do is duplicate this, follow this, and you'll have this success. When the reality is we're all different heights, different ages, different body types, different shapes. So we're not going to have the same success as someone else.
Right? I did the diets. You did the diets. Mm-hmm. I did the programs. You did the programs.
Right.
None of those things worked. And I think, does it work for some people? Sure, that's why they were created. But I think that there's a reason why we don't stay on them forever.
Right.
Because a program is meant to start and stop. And what we're talking about is a lifestyle.
Right. And when you say if something works, so I always say it works. They work. You will lose some weight if you eat less than what your calorie burn or what your body burns. You're going to lose weight. And that's what those programs are set up for. We're specifically a keto podcast, right? We're more than keto, but we are keto. And
that is our lifestyle, yeah.
Right. And the thing about keto is that we've already discussed this too. Everyone does it different, but there is that formula. But when you take someone who is 175 pounds and you take someone who's 210 pounds, their percentages are going to be the same for the formula, but their numbers are going to be different. So you can't.
And the formula you're talking about is the keto macro.
Correct. That is what it is. Now, it will not be the same for Ashley and me, for example. Yep. I'm 5'3.5". Ashley, you are
5, almost 8.
5'8". So our weight is going to be different. Our macros are going to be different. Our size is going to be different. Ashley has one shape. I have another shape. We're just different. And I think that's important for people to understand. So you stop trying to get.
And you can't always see that exactly on social media either, that people don't weigh or look the same. Like, yeah, you may see a picture of them and think, well, why don't I look that way at that weight? And because the size and the shape is not always as easy to see on social media on just a photo.
For sure. You can't tell how tall someone is. I think one of the biggest problems that I have seen and experienced myself with people telling me this is like, I've had people message me and say, well, my dimensions are the same as yours, but I don't look like you. Or I weigh what you weigh, but I don't look like you. Well, let me just explain. Very, very important that you need to understand. I've been working out consistently for 6 years. that changes your body composition. And that's why you can't compare yourself to somebody else, even if your dimensions are the same. Because the truth is, they probably aren't the same. They just look the same to you, or you're hearing the same number. You might be 4'11" and I might be 5'4". So the dimensions, it's just all going to be different. The point is, when we realize that we can't duplicate someone else's success, and I believe that's when we're going to stop trying to get their cheat sheet, their cliff notes. Because
Yeah,
I think
right.
that's what
It's
a
like
lot
the
of people
fast
are looking
forward. And
for. Yeah,
I do. And I get messages often of like, what are your macros? What are your macros? So spoiler alert, I don't like sharing them.
right,
I will share them. I have shared them. I'll continue to do it. And I always put a disclaimer up. These are my macros.
right. Different
My,
activity
for me,
levels,
for
that
my
all
height, for my
matters.
weight, for my activity level, for my job,
Job,
for
your
and you really got to
age.
take that into consideration because I'm on my feet all day, my age. I walk sometimes up to 5 miles just at work. All right, so very active, and then I work out at least 3 to 4 days a week. I do I didn't always, but now I do. So now my food is different even than when I was less active. Like that all
It
morphs
all
into whatever
matters.
it is that you're doing. So
Mm-hmm.
you cannot start a program and assume that a year or two from now you're going to be doing the same program. Are you going to be doing the same type of eating style? I'm still keto, yes. But my activity levels change. I do weights a different like you're constantly evolving and if that's not what you are thinking about when you get into this, that may be why you continue to hit roadblocks
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and have a hard time having continued success because you have to evolve as your journey evolves. And
Right.
if you just do what I like to call plug and play, you pull, you find what it is that you think is going to work and then you plug it in and you play it and you want it to play out the same way. That's not being interactive in your own journey. You really have to carve out this path.
Right.
That's to me the difference between what I did in the past and the difference between what I do now.
Mm-hmm.
Do I get influenced positively by my community to make certain changes or try certain things? 100%.
Yeah.
That's why we love this community
Yeah.
because one of those things may work for you. But what we've also learned is that it may not, and you will try
Right.
again and you'll try something else.
Yeah.
I think that that is the biggest thing. And we often talk about success and we talk about grit, how they go hand in hand. Because grit is the ability to be knocked down over and 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 over again
Mm-hmm.
and get up every single time, right? To
Yeah. Yeah.
continue to persevere against all odds over and again. And that's what somebody means when they say, you're gritty is like you don't get knocked down easily or get discouraged so easily. You're going to try again and again. I've always had that about me, which is
Mm-hmm.
why I continue to seek out a journey, but I could just never figure out why I couldn't get past, losing like those same 30 pounds
Right. Right. I
because I
think
was
a
just following something else, somebody else's
right. Right. No, for
path.
sure. I think over time, my keto journey has certainly changed. It's evolved. I've tried different things, and there's nothing wrong with trying things. Like you said, you can be
Oh, I think
influenced
that's
by other
great.
people. You can be inspired. Other people are doing things, and then you think, well, maybe I'll try that. And then you try that. Then you learn something from it, or you continue doing it, or whatever. And I think
Or you
that's
make
part
changes to it
right. I think
and
that's
you make
you
it your
edit
own.
it and make it your own. Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
Losing weight isn't easy. And so there is there's something comforting about being able to just try what somebody else has had success with. I certainly understand that. I've done it a million times.
Right.
I think that by making it your own, it is a plan designed only for you
Yeah.
and you will have some pride about that as well, that you carved that out for yourself and that
Yeah. I love that.
nobody told you exactly how to do it because I feel this way even now. Like, people ask me, they message me, well, what can you tell me a book? Can you tell me? I Googled. I didn't at the
You had
time.
many sources, just many
I had
sources that
many
you would
sources
find.
because
Same here.
I
Right.
really didn't know where to go. And so I was just like, well, all the information is better than only one. And I was comparing every type of
Yes, because
journey,
there's different opinions.
there's so many different opinions because this is still new-ish, right, in the world of weight loss. And
Mm-hmm.
because there wasn't only one way to do it. I
Right.
wasn't really sure because there were grocery lists and there were ideas of recipes, but I realized that this had a lot of options and I
Mm-hmm.
needed to figure out what options
Work for
that
you.
would work for me. And this
Yeah.
is something that I tell people all the time when they message me. It's like, what recipes? Recipes and macros are questions I get a lot. And the recipe situation, I always answer this exactly the same. And it's not me being smart. It's legit. I ask, what do you like to eat?
Yeah.
Because instead of looking at somebody else's recipes, what if that's not what you like? For
Right.
example, a lot of people don't know this. I don't like eggs.
I know I didn't know that till the other day.
I
What the
don't
heck?
like eggs. I don't eat them in any, like, I don't like them. Will I eat them in something? Yes, but I don't eat eggs. So breakfast for me is not going to look like any single person's like
Right.
recipe for breakfast because it almost always includes eggs. So if you're like that where you're extremely picky, you probably already know that about yourself. Like, well, I don't know if I can do it because I'm so picky. Listen here, I'm really, really picky. That's where I figured out that was like my own secret sauce. It's like, okay, I'm going to take the foods that I want to eat already and I'm just
Right.
going to make them keto. And that is always the
Easy
advice that I
peasy.
give
Yeah.
because you already enjoy it. So
Right.
keep the joy,
Yeah.
lose the things that you don't need to lose, but keep the things you like. That will keep you on track
Yeah.
because you enjoy it. You already look forward to, and I put recipes on my feed, but I love Mexican food. You can find things like I show how to make all of those things that I love because I used to eat them and love them. So why do we have to get rid of them?
Right. I
Like a lot of
agree.
times we want to overhaul everything.
Mm-hmm.
You can still have it. Whatever it is. The point is, instead of trying to follow a diet that you might or might not like that's somebody else's meal plan just to lose the weight that they lost, create your own
Yeah.
journey and that will create your own success because it's going to look different. Like you said, for every single one of us, we are not going to be. I told Molly this the other day. If we all weighed exactly the same
Mm-hmm.
and we all got the same pair of jeans, not everyone would fit in those jeans.
Right.
So it makes sense that you may have a list of ways to be successful, and some of those ways may not work for you. And
Right.
that would give you momentum to give up, would it not?
Oh, absolutely. For sure. Our favorite tool to use to not only track our food, but also to figure out what we're going to be eating is Carb Manager. It's free.
Yes.
It's wonderful. It has everything. It's a lot of stuff. And I think sometimes when people look at, especially if you're brand new to the weight loss world
Yeah.
and
A lot of
tracking,
question or a
you
lot of information.
yeah, you
Yeah.
see that and go, huh, when you hit the first button there, it's like, oh, it's like a whole line. Like, what do I need? You need
Yeah.
settings. You just need settings. When you go in settings, then you're going to go to your profile. Then you're going to fill out the stuff about you. And it asks a lot of questions. And you're going to answer all the questions. And then it's going to spit out for you what you need to be eating. How many grams of,
Not what Copy Kathy needs,
not
but what
copy
you
Kathy.
need. But what you need.
Right.
And it's funny because if you could see everyone's car manager, I mean,
They're
maybe
all
one out of
different.
1,000 people would be different. I mean, the same.
The same,
You
right?
probably would get one out of 1,000 that would I mean, I don't even know if anybody's would be exactly
I know
the
because
same.
you can also adjust your deficit. Now, calorie deficit is a
Yes.
part on there. And basically, we could explain calorie deficit, but instead, I'll just tell you this and make it very simple. When you go to slide that bar, do you want to lose 1 pound this month? Do you want to lose 2, 3, 4? And you will slide
Yeah,
it
and it
and you
just
will
gives you a
see
percentage.
the percentage will show up there and it will automatically calculate how many calories you will need to get to your goal of how much you want to lose. And all your macros will also be there. And then don't stop there. Track your food. Don't forget to track your food so you
Yeah,
can see
I
that you're
know.
actually eating what you're supposed to be eating according to the calculator.
Because now you have personalized goals for your
Yes.
body.
How great is that? You
And if
didn't
you
have to
track
pay
it,
someone
yeah,
to do it for you. You could do it all by yourself
car
and give
manager makes life so
yourself,
easy.
like, I love what you said a while ago. You are designing your own plan. I love that. You are the designer of your plan. This is your plan. And again, don't forget, you can change it over time. You will
It's
evolve.
going to
Things will
evolve. That's part of
change.
the journey.
Yeah.
That's the difference between a diet and
I
a
was about to
journey.
say
And we
with a
talked about
diet,
this.
I was going
Yeah.
to say that with a diet, I think people, it's like this, that. That's it. And that's just not how keto
And I
is.
think
It's
maybe
just not.
that's and I think maybe that there's some substance there. Is like if you're looking for that, maybe it's time to think about it in a different way. Because I know that's what I had to do. I had to stop doing the diet thing. And the moment that I made it a journey, I made different choices.
Yeah.
And I stopped making diet choices where it's short term. I want to lose this weight by this time. I want to look like this by this, date or,
Yeah. Right. I love what you just said
that's
too, because the diet is like a race and the lifestyle is like a journey. And I know we hear that all the time, but I
yeah.
just realized I was running a race and running a race and running a race and running a race. And the race
Right,
always
which
has an
means
ending
start and stop,
finish. There's
start
a
and stop,
finish
start and
line,
stop.
finish line. But with a
Yep.
lifestyle, there is no finish line. With a journey, it is a long process. It is not a
Yeah,
quick
it's
trip.
it's more like you live in each day for the future versus living to get to the next point.
That is
That
so
is
deep. That is
that
good.
is really what it's like for me now. I don't
Yeah.
worry about
Yeah.
Monday. I worry about today because Monday's coming. I'm
Right.
still going to be here, but I want to make sure the choices I make today
Today.
reflect on Monday
Yeah,
or
that's good.
whatever. You know what I
Oh
mean? Is
yeah, yeah.
I really think that that's a mindset change. And I do think that maybe if you're trying to just get to this point, be open to changing your mind on that. Be open to
Hmm.
think about this long term because long term success is really where you want to be anyway. You
Yeah,
don't want to
yeah,
slide
yeah.
back to your old
No,
behaviors when you're
no.
done. You don't
You've
want to
seen
start this
that.
all over again, do you?
You've seen the races don't work. You don't win the race. You just don't. And if you do win the race,
You have to start it
you have to
again.
start again because you gain the weight back. You gain the weight back. Diets fail. They don't
Yeah.
last. And they're miserable while we're at it.
There's just so much restriction and when you're looking at a lifestyle, you know you're going to slow down, but the result there is long term,
Yeah, it's
long
lasting.
lasting
Yeah.
results. And I think that we're so scared that we won't do it fast enough, that it won't, that, I think really what it is you don't think you have the stamina to withstand the journey.
But you
I know
do.
that,
But you do.
but
That's
I
good.
know that that's not true. That's not true. You actually will be more successful if you slow down and you really enjoy your process versus trying to speed it up to fit into something or to look a certain way.
You said a little while ago about looking to Monday rather than looking to now, or looking ahead at another day rather than now. You were saying how you
If
can
you're thinking
stop
about that date
yourself.
of, yeah, that 3 month mark, and you're trying to get to that 3 month mark only to lose this amount of weight, but you know, that's what you're focused on instead of making the choices right now,
Right.
knowing that that date's going to come and not thinking about that date is it. If the future is just open for you, you just keep going and you take each day is really what I was getting at. Is like you take each day and at a time. And even if you mess up, like you still know that you have like all this extra time. You don't just have the 3 months. So if you don't get there and you don't make it, then it's over.
Right. So
That
no
gives you
deadline.
permission to give up on yourself
Yeah.
if it's not going your way. Whereas the
Right.
journey, it's like that didn't work or that was great. And because the future is in front of you and you're just moving towards that. You don't have like this finish line that you can see and you're going after it and you're either getting closer or you're falling further back. With
Right.
a journey, it may look like 2 steps forward, three back, four forward, three, you know what I mean? Like, but you just keep going because you don't see this line in the sand
Right.
of
Right.
having to finish. So it stops you from being able, it stops you from quitting so soon. Because what are you trying to get to?
Right.
The end of your life? Are we all trying to hurry up and die? No, right? Like, because the way
Yeah.
I'm thinking of is like, what am I going for? Yeah, goal weight is a thing,
Yeah, but that could
but
happen at
I'm
any
not going to
time. You
give up
don't know
after
when.
goal weight.
Yeah, you don't have a
I'm not
certain
going to
date for
stop.
that.
Right.
Right.
And I'm not going to stop keto at that point.
Right.
So I have internalized it as this is my forever as far as I can see in the future. So it's
Yeah.
totally open. And it means that I'm not hurrying up. I'm staying the course because this is my journey and my lifestyle because I love it and I'm enjoying it
Yeah.
and I don't want it to end.
Right.
And
And
if you
that's the
love it, you don't want it to end.
right, and that's the difference between a lifestyle and a diet because the diet does have the finish. There's always a finish. And when you quit, you gain the weight back. A lifestyle is a lifestyle. You mess up, quote unquote, you just keep going. I remember my husband told me this past year, I remember him saying to me, "Isn't this a lifestyle?" Because I messed up. And he said, "But isn't this a lifestyle?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, it's a lifestyle. If it's a lifestyle, you didn't mess up. That happened.
You just
You're
lived your
not
life that
stopping."
one day.
Yeah, that's it.
It was just a normal day instead of a keto day. We can't help but to fall into old behaviors, right? So this is all about creating your macros, create that all of these new things
Yes,
so that you can
create.
create your journey.
Yeah.
You have to be consistently pushing forward with creating the new and not letting yourself get sucked into the old,
Yeah,
which is like
that's
the
good.
programs. You've done the programs.
Yeah.
How did you get out of the diet mindset?
Oh, that's a good question. I got out of the diet mindset by going off the diet. I just I never really here's the difference between me now on keto and me then. Me then was like we've said over and over, starting and stopping. So I would start and I would stop over and over, and my weight would go up and down and up and down and up and down. So I was never consistent, and I always, and this is how you know it's a diet, when you have to like take a break, right? You take a
For the
break, it was a
restriction,
diet.
it's too much, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right. So there's one thing called balance. There's another thing called like restriction. Okay. So I take a free day
Yeah.
every month. We know that. I've talked about that. That's not because of restriction. It's just just to have it. So I keep going. So I don't think I'm missing out. And quite honestly, the last couple, I've not done anything weird. I've stayed like with the low carb
Yeah.
products and stayed with my norm. Just had a little
I
extra
just feel
carbs.
better. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to get sick. But when it was the diets, it would be like, okay, it's a 30-day program or 21-day program. I get to the end of it, I'm like, okay, now it's that week or two in between till the next round or till the
It
next
gives you like
group.
permission to give
It
up,
gives
like
you
not give up on
permission to
yourself, but stop.
well, it gives you permission. And my husband used to say, "We're going to have a blowout, right? We're going to have a blowout, right?" That was his way of us eating whatever. And guess what?
It's kind of like a right to binge at that point on
Yes,
whatever and anything you
right?
want.
Without
Right. It
any
create
oh, it's terrible. And it has no guilt whatsoever because you know you're going to be dieted again. You're going to be going back on the diet whenever the next round starts. How
and
crazy is that?
I
So
think that
bad for your
that
metabolism.
creates yeah, and I do think that that creates some binge eating cycles
Yeah.
because it's encouraging this over indulgence in food and then this massive restriction
Yeah.
and then this overindulgence. And I think over time it does destroy our metabolism. And I do think that over time it destroys our relationship with food. And so
Right.
we get to a point where it's no longer working. Then I wasn't even making it the 30 days. Then I wasn't even
Yeah. Yeah.
then I was taking longer breaks in between because
You
I was
know,
just enjoying that free for all.
right. And you know what else? Like, I don't eat sugar, but I don't eat sugar because I know it's bad for me. I know it's bad in general, but I
Yeah.
know it's bad for me. And I know that I
Because of the
don't
way
need it
you
in my body
feel, right?
because I know better. So
Yeah.
I won't
And
do it.
yeah, and somebody asked me the other day, we're like, you can't have. I hate that.
Yeah.
I can have whatever I want, first of all.
Right.
Now,
Right.
on a diet, I used to say, yeah, I can't have that. I don't
Mm-hmm.
say that anymore. I've
Mm-mm.
gotten out of that because you are what you believe.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're a product of what you believe, what you see, what you take in, what you tell yourself. That is you become a product of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I stopped saying I can't have that when I started going, and we've talked about this lately about going to parties and like, oh no, I can't have that. I can't have that. And then it becomes this whole session of like you justifying what you're doing to others. One, no one else needs to worry about what you're doing except for you. That's the
Right.
key point. Two, when I stopped saying I can't have that and I started saying I don't want that,
Yeah.
the power became in my
That's
I
good.
became in control of my
Yeah.
journey and my choices.
Yeah.
And in some weird way, that seems so simple, I was able to steer myself in a direction and say, I don't like that. And then when people say, or I don't want that, they would say, why? And I would say, because it doesn't make me feel good.
Yeah, exactly. And why would I want to feel
And
bad?
no one
Not going to do
argues
that to
with that.
myself. Right. You can't argue with that.
And and that's where I started changing the language. And that's also when I started believing the language. And that's when my journey began,
Changed.
not my diet.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
It's
good.
changed the way you talk about yourself, where you talk about your food, the way you talk about your fitness, how you take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to lose weight only or talking about it just weight loss, weight loss, talking about being healthy, talk about being energized, talk about the goals beyond just the looks and the weight. Stop talking bad about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Once you start telling yourself, I don't eat this because it doesn't make me feel good, that is an awesome flex.
Yeah.
That's an awesome flex to know
I
because a lot
love
of people
that.
don't know that those things don't make them feel good. I love that. I love that I get to
I
say,
absolutely love it. And
I
that's
don't like
right
that
on the
anymore.
money. That's right on the money because with keto, there are things I choose not to eat because they don't serve me well. They don't make me feel good. I don't feel my
Yeah,
best when I eat them. And I know that because I've eaten them before. And I
of
know how
course.
I felt and I know the symptoms of my body that came as a result of eating what I ate. So why would I want to do that to myself? Why would I want to do that to myself? So I choose
Exactly.
instead to eat a different way, which like you said, there's nothing you can't have on keto.
No,
It's
it all comes with a budget, right?
right, the
It's how
budget.
you want to
It's
spend
how
it.
you choose to spend it. And
Do you want four apple slices? Or do you want to be able to have cheese and some cream and you want to have maybe a big salad with lots of vegetables that do have
right.
carbs in them?
And
It's all up to you. It's your choice.
a lot of people don't realize, let's be honest, like this is, maybe this is a podcast we need to do after being on TikTok and seeing what I'm seeing. So many people do not understand what keto is. They do not
Because
understand.
people are seeing dirty keto only. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's all packaged stuff. It's all butter, grease, whatever. In their minds, that's what they think it is.
Lots of cream
They have
cheese and lots
lots
of
of cream cheese
bacon.
and bacon.
This is what they
And do
talk
we
about.
have those things? Of course, we can have those things. But most of us eat vegetables. And actually, and I see this on Instagram all the time. People say they eat more vegetables now than they did. And I
Me,
have to
that's
say,
me.
I eat more vegetables even
Than
now.
I
And I
ever did.
always had a vegetable, but now, like, I look forward to them. Before
Right?
I was
Isn't
just
that
eating and
something?
like,
See?
I enjoy
That's
my
what I'm
veggies
saying.
now.
It's I completely feel that. Look, more than 40 years, 43, 44 years, I never ate vegetables. I dabbled in them a little bit in my early 40s. I dabbled in some vegetables. When I started paying
I
attention to what I
I
was
would try
eating.
them here and there. No, I'm just
But as a kid, I ate green beans, that's all. Green beans and only cuz I had to.
mm-mm.
That was it. Corn, I don't consider that like ugh, it's not
That's a
even good.
carb to me. I mean,
It
yeah,
is a carb, it's a vegetable,
yeah,
but it's a starchy one and we
very,
can
yeah.
have it if we want. I just don't want to. But anyway, but like cauliflower and
Oh, I
broccoli
never
and
ate cauliflower
mushrooms,
ever.
all this stuff I never ate before, ever. Like never. And
I
now
never
I
ate
eat
cauliflower.
more vegetables being
Yeah,
keto. I've opened myself to eat more as
because the fat is where it's at. The
yes.
fat makes all the veggies taste so good.
But you know what I
And
thought
you're
was
missing
bad?
out too.
Look, they talk about, what I thought was all the experts tell you don't call food good and bad. Don't call food good and bad. But then on the next breath, they're talking about butter being bad. Let's just say they are. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
And here I am, like,
No vegetable, no fat shaming. Okay.
right, right. But see, the vegetable, you can add the butter and the cheese and not feel bad about it. Whereas before, I would have
Yeah, it fits
felt
into your
bad.
macros.
But I would have felt bad.
Right.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
You'd have
I
been
would
like,
have been
oh,
like,
I'm not, this isn't
I need
healthy.
this isn't
Yeah.
healthy. I need just steamed broccoli. I need
Yeah,
bland
that's what I would
food
do.
because it was bad to put butter on. It was bad to put cheese on. So
Yeah.
I think it's pretty
Like
hypocritical that they
butter
tell
flavored
us,
cooking spray.
right? Ugh.
I would cook with cooking spray instead of oil because I was like, oh, the fat, the fat, the fat. Yeah. I sucked all the taste out of my food. And that's why I didn't like a lot of the things. I didn't eat cauliflower before. Wouldn't even like I if smelled it and I'd be like disgusting.
That's
I
it,
ate
right?
broccoli, I ate green beans. That was it. I now eat Brussels sprouts and cabbage and I mean there when I really stopped to think about it,
Yeah, you can make a list.
my vegetable consumption has gone way up, and I enjoy the crap out of those things now.
It's been very eye-opening to be keto and see how people think of keto and realize how much they don't know what keto is. That's what I've come to the conclusion of. And I know what you're saying about dirty and all that, but I still even think people are closed-minded. They're
closed-minded. So many
closed-minded.
different variants of it that they don't understand that it actually looks a lot like how you already eat. And I tell people all the time, the only difference between what I'm eating and you're eating is that I just take the carbs and
Took
sugar
the bread out.
That's it.
Or replaced it with a keto-fied version.
Or replaced it with a
almond
keto-friendly
flour,
or a vegetable.
like something better for you that digests better in your system. I don't know who said that was bad. I just get really annoyed by this. So here's the message we want to give you. Now listen very closely. Listen, listen, listen. Don't be a copy Kathy. See, I think that's awesome.
I think that's great. We need a counter to that. Don't be a copy Kathy. Be a.
You know what we can do for Kathy? We can make her good too. Don't be a copy Kathy. Be a creative Kathy.
Yeah.
Seek your own journey. Don't seek someone else's. Create your own. Don't look for duplicating someone else's because it's impossible.
Be inspired by your community. That's why we're here, sharing our journeys, learning from one another. Don't try to duplicate somebody else's journey because it was meant for them. And chances are they had to work really hard to figure out what that was. And you can do that too.
Yes, you can.
And you can inspire others to make and find their own journeys.
Yes.
And once we make our community better, we become better.
Yes, that's the thing. That's it.
As usual, we love you guys. Thanks for hanging out with us and spending your valuable time with us. And we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us today. You can find and connect with us over on Instagram at More Than Just Keto. Don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss out on the fun. We'll see you next time.